kings again.
All men with honor are kings. But not all kings have honor.
What is honor?
Honor is what no man can give you, and none can take away. Honor is a man's gift to himself.
Do women have it?
Women are the heart of honor, and we cherish and protect it in them. You must never mistreat a woman or malign a man, or stand by and see another do so.
How do you know if you have it?
Never worry on the getting of it. It grows in you and speaks to you. All you need to do is listen.
Hey, my contact is bothering me, so if I look like I'm teary-eyed, it's because of that. I thought I would do a video on something that I feel strongly about, and that has to do with honor. I tried to look up images of honor on the internet, and I got a lot of pictures of military men, soldiers, medals, guys carrying guns and going to battle for their country. So, or being awarded medals. So I looked it up in the dictionary on the dictionary.com. There's obviously different definitions. The definition that I always think of when I think of honor is the first definition: honesty, fairness, or integrity in one's beliefs and actions. I honestly think that there's very little honor left in the world. I think people, first of all, just to be clear, I don't totally agree with I love the scene in Rob Roy that I just played. It's probably one of my favorite scenes because it has to do with honor, and my dad had that. And I've always tried to have that or seek after that. But I don't think women are the heart of honor. That's a sweet little saying, but I think women and men have an equal, chance to have it or not have it. And I think it depends on the person. It has nothing to do with the gender. But it's Hollywood, and Anyway, so I'm looking at synonyms, and probity, uprightness, honor, honesty, integrity, sincerity, refer to the highest moral principles and the absence of deceit or fraud. Honor denotes a fine sense of and a strict conformity to what is considered morally right or due. A high sense of honor on one's honesty, denotes the presence of probity, and particularly the absence of deceit or fraud, especially in business dealings. Uncompromising honesty and trustworthiness, integrity, indicates a soundness of moral principle that no power or influence can impair. A man of unquestioned integrity and dependability. Sincerity implies absence of dissimulation or deceit, and a strong adherence to truth. His sincerity was evident in every word. Deference, homage, reverence, veneration, honor, consideration, distinction refer to the regard in which one is held by others. Honor suggests a combination of liking and respect. His colleagues held him in great honor. Consideration suggests honor because of proved worth. A man worthy of the highest consideration. Distinction suggests particular honor because of qualities or accomplishments. She achieved distinction as a violinist at an early age. Esteem, venerate. So those are kind of like, the different possible definitions and meanings of the word. So I wanted to do a talk about honor and what I feel about it, and that's what my video is about. So I'm going to come back when my eye isn't driving me crazy and continue on. Thanks. So here I am on my deck. This is even more gorgeous day than it was last weekend. And once again, I'm going to be in a warehouse. But at least it's only for 5.5 hours. instead of 8. And maybe I'll get to be in the garden section, but I found out the garden section is really, it's probably my least favorite. It's just a lot of stressed out people. They want to get home and plant stuff. And anyway, so on the subject of honor, I'm trying to wrap my brain around how to explain what I think about honor. I think it's a feeling more than a thing. I think it's well, it's a thing too. It's a quality. It's a quality, but it's a feeling you have inside. I haven't mentioned it for a while, but there's somebody that I took care of while he was ill, and when he got better, he just said, "Thanks, but I don't need you anymore." Words that will live in my memory for as long as I live, I'm sorry to say. Is it honorable of me to say that if that person came to me and was sorry and was sick and needed my help, is it dishonorable of me to say that I'm probably going to help that person? I'm almost certain that if that person came to me and asked me for help, maybe even if he didn't apologize, just because I helped him once, maybe he thinks I can help him again. If he came to me, would I help him? Yes, I would. Because I actually care. I do care. I care for this person. I care for my friends. I've never been able to turn that off. I wish, I think it actually does me more harm than good that I can't turn it off, but I wish, I can't. That's all there is. And so, but I know when I see dishonor, I know when I see somebody who isn't displaying or demonstrating what I consider to be honorable qualities or honorable actions. And I think that probably every person has a different sense of what honor is. My personal sense of what honor is a person who's honorable doesn't stand by and let a friend take the blame or take all of the blame for something that has caused harm, that was something they instigated themselves, and rather than fess up to it and say, I did this thing and it was a mistake and I'm sorry, but Diane shouldn't have to take all the blame. Diane shouldn't be the one that's being punished here because I was the one that was aware and alert and had all my faculties while she did not. To me that's an honorable thing. Somebody who, even though it might cost them, might put them at risk for losing things, does that because it's not an honorable thing to stand by and let somebody else take the blame. To me that somebody who does that, who is primarily responsible for something that has happened that causes harm, and then doesn't step forward and let somebody else take the blame. That is something that I think is very dishonorable. I would not, if I were that person, be able to look in the mirror in the mornings. I don't think I'd be able to stand myself knowing that I did that to somebody, especially if it's somebody who trusted and believed in you and thought you were their friend. So, just an example, it's like things that happen to me in my life, people that I encounter that show me what I think, this is really killing my arm. Okay, we're switching arms. Show me what I don't want to be. Show me what I don't want to do to somebody else. Show me this hurts me. I know I would never want to do this to somebody else and hurt somebody else like this hurts me. And again, the person who stayed with me that I cared for hurt me too. But, when you use somebody because you don't have any other choice and it's life or death, and you need somebody to help you because you're hurting and there's nobody else that is coming forward to help you, I think it's a little bit different. And that person, while I really pity that person, you know, they're not who I thought they were. I don't. I can find forgiveness in my heart for that. And that's another thing that I think is honorable, is the ability to forgive somebody, the ability to understand when somebody is going through a bad time and say, yeah, that kind of sucks what that person did to me, but it wasn't them at their best. They weren't being their best at that time. That was them in desperate times and in desperation. And so that's kind of how I look at that person that I thought was my friend that stayed with me for 3 years of my life. I kind of wish that I had the ability to move away from my condo, because there's so many things about this place that reminds me of this person. Every time a 8 car drives by, and it's like, I wonder if that's the one that came for him that night. Just little things like that. But anyway, I want to try to be an honorable person as I understand the word. But like Rob Roy says, I don't think it's something you seek after. I think it's something that grows in you. And I think I demonstrated it when I took somebody in and cared for them. Even when they told me they could never love me, I still cared for them because I cared for them. It was not something I could do. I mean, I couldn't do anything else but care for them. And I cling to the hope that makes me, that was a good thing that I did, that was an honorable thing that I did, that was a friend. See, that's my definition of honor, is somebody who stands by somebody else. You know, if you say you're going to be there for somebody, you're there. You know, if somebody is hurting and desperate, and you step forward and say, hey, here's a shoulder, here's some arms that will hold you, or, you know, somebody you can lean on for a little while, that person's there. They stand by you, and they don't use you or manipulate you when the chips are down and you're at your lowest. They don't take advantage of you. They don't use you. They don't exploit, you know, whatever they can get out of you because you're down and depressed. Somebody who does that doesn't have honor. Somebody who does that doesn't have a sense of honor. And it's funny because I kind of grew up thinking along those same lines that, well, a little bit like what Rob Roy says in that movie, or Liam Neeson, I should say. It's a line, I know, it's just a line, but I've always associated the word honor with men, you know, that was more important to men, that men made a bigger deal out of having honor and being honorable than women, which is sexist. I don't think it's true, and I think I was wrong, but maybe it's because I grew up, you know, in a day when that word went hand in hand with heroism and heroes, and all the heroes were men. You know, I didn't get to see women heroes in movies and TV shows until I grew up. My entire childhood was spent watching male heroes, male, you know, guys in the role of the hero. So that's where maybe I have that attitude or that feeling inside that men should have that sense of honor in them. And now, of course, looking back, I know that's wrong. It's just the same for men and women. It's something you either, I think it's part of your personality. I think it grows in you. Like the line says, it grows in you, and either you do or you don't. My dad did, and that's why he was loved so much. I'm trying to, but again, it's maybe you're not even aware when you have it. Maybe it's something that other people notice, but you yourself never see, you know? I like to think that I've done some honorable things in my life. Maybe that gives me some honor. Maybe that makes me an honorable person. I try to keep my promises. if I'm going to be there for somebody, I try to be there. I tried very hard to be there for this man who lived with me. I tried to forgive him when he didn't come to me and ask for forgiveness. I asked him for forgiveness. I tried to look back and say, okay, well, here's the things that I did wrong in this scenario, and this is how I could see where, I failed him in this scenario. I went to him and apologized for the things that I think I did wrong. He didn't forgive me. He actually was like, well, it's going to take me some time to get over what you did, Diane. He didn't forgive me. He didn't start being my friend. It was more like he acted like the wounded party, and I'm like, and he never asked me for forgiveness. He never, ever, ever apologized to me. I tried to forgive him, but he never asked me for forgiveness. And I feel like of the two of us, I was the one that put out more. I was the one that gave more. I was the one who was the person who was being asked for favors. I don't think I really asked him for very much, except I enjoyed his company living in my house. I feel like I was the one that he was coming to for favors and for help, and asking me to give support and encouragement. And he turned around and said, thanks, but I don't need you anymore. So I feel like of the two of us, I was the one that was hurt more. I was the one that was used more and taken advantage of more. And yet I was willing to forgive him, and I was even willing to ask him for forgiveness when he didn't ask me. And he acted like the wounded party. Well, it's going to take me some time, Diane, to get over what you did. It's like, dude, what about what you did to me? What about what you did? See, I really don't think this person actually even sees that he did anything wrong. Doesn't see it. Just doesn't. His friends do. His friends, but he doesn't. And so maybe this is a person that is incapable of having any honor, like the bartender who thought it was okay to exploit somebody when they were down, and then let that person take the blame and get hurt even more. So they could basically hide behind that person and hide what they did. So those are my I think what I build my sense of my sense of understanding what honor is on are the things that happened to me in my life, the people that I've met, the examples that I've seen in my life that have shown me what I don't want to be, what I never want to do to somebody else. And I think that's kind of like the guideline that I have now as far as hoping to have honor myself. Is, okay, now I have a good example of what I don't want to do and what I don't want to be. And if I do that, and if I avoid being these things, maybe in time I will have the honor that I hope I have, or I hope I will have honor, some kind of honor, because I would like to be an honorable person. I would like to be sincere and reliable and dependable and a genuine friend. And not a user, not somebody who deceives, not somebody who manipulates or looks for ways to take advantage of a situation, but just kicks back and lives and enjoys people and tries to be nice to people and treat people like I would like to be treated. I think as long as I can do that and let go of the anger, I think I've actually done a pretty good job. It took me a really long time, but I think I'm finally there where I don't really feel anger anymore. I used to seethe with it about these two men. And my ex-husband too. I used to seethe inside, just boil inside with rage at what these men did to me. And now I just I feel distanced from it. I feel like I can look back and kind of analyze it and go, huh, well, okay, this is what I think of that, and move on. It doesn't bother me. I think it's sad. I'm sorry that I had to go through it. I'm sorry that I misjudged people and thought that they were something that they weren't. Maybe I wouldn't have been hurt so much had I given my trust so easily to people. Maybe that's a good lesson for people, if anyone's watching this, to be really choosy about who you give your trust to and who you give your heart to. You know, your heart is yourself. It's your vulnerability. It's the most personal parts of you, and you should guard that and protect that and love that, care for that, and not let anybody get in there and rip it apart and treat it like it has no value, or treat what you are and who you are like you're nothing. You know, you should guard against the kind of people that would do that. And if you start to sense something is wrong with a friendship, really listen to that. Don't try to just see the good things. Don't try to make up excuses for somebody's behavior if they continue to abuse you. But really look at how this person is making you feel, and take note. You know, I mean, when your body experiences pain, it's warning signals to your brain that there's something wrong, and whatever it is that's causing the pain, you should stop that. I think it's the same when it comes to hurting in your heart. If you keep feeling hurting in your heart, you need to stop whatever it is that's causing that hurt, and get away. Because what happens if you don't? If you keep hanging on to something, it causes you to act dishonorably. It causes you to make mistakes and get desperate and needy. And when you're in the situation where you're desperate and needy and hurting all the time, that's when you start hurting other people, and you become toxic, and you become a problem yourself, and you lose friends. And any sense of honor is completely shot out the window, you know. So anyway, I just felt like talking about honor this morning, and I don't know if this video is actually making any sense at all. It's a vague, well, it's not a vague word, but I think, like I said, I think everybody has a different definition of what it is. And I think it's a good thing. I think that it's what we all have inside of us. We all have a little picture inside of us about what a good person is, what a good person does and thinks and feels and is. And I think that when you have honor, you're kind of in sync with that image. You're emulating that image. You're putting that out there, you know. You're not letting it down, but you're living up to it. So, God, my voice is really low this morning. Anyway, so that's it. This has been a long, me rambling for a really long time about something that I can't really explain as clearly as I want to. But hopefully this video made some sense. So, thanks for watching if you have. Bye.